Naruto's path to power, perfect Jinchuriki and unstoppable rise against Konoha's route. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 1. When the moon is empty, Konoha village was also full of cries of pain. There are broken walls everywhere. The wounded are countless. Because at this moment, outside Konoha village, a huge fox is roaring up to the sky. Several Vajra chains stretched out from the belly of a weak red-haired woman and wrapped around the nine-tailed demon fox. Night of the Nine Tails. The beginning of all destiny is also the birth of the child of destiny. At this time, Bo Feng Shui Man looked at his wife affectionately. Next, I will cast the Bagua seal to reseal the nine tails onto Naruto. The face of Joshinai below changed drastically. What do you say? You actually sacrificed yourself just so that I could see Naruto? I want you to stay with Naruto and not go with me. Bo Feng Shui Man looked at the nine tails and shook his head, and said with a solemn face, I know what you want to say, but what Jiraiya-sensei calls about the change in the world and the disasters that come with it. Today I have confirmed two things: attack your masked man, that guy must bring blood. Then it must be this kid who stops him. This child, named after Jiraiya teacher, will definitely be able to open up the future as a human pillar in the future. However, Naruto below slowly opened his eyes, after he heard the declaration of Bo Feng Shui Man, slowly stretched out his hand and put up two long middle fingers. Naruto, wow. UTM sealed the nine tails back into Joshinai's body. That's right, Naruto is a crosser, originally a puffing author on Blue Star. As a result, he died suddenly on the way to add more codewords. When he opened his eyes, he saw that Wave Feng Shui Gate 2 was preparing to seal half of the nine-tailed GA in his body. Naruto, who was a Hokage Dojin author in a previous life, naturally knew the darkness of Konoha. As soon as the couple died, they lived a life that was simply not human. Tuanzo racked his brains all day to train himself into a killing machine. The ape flying sun slashed even more ruthlessly, directly with mental abuse. Let the entire people of Konoha isolate him, and then brush the favorability yourself. If the mind control is far more abhorrent than execution. So Naruto tried very hard to tell the big fool in front of him, you sealed the nine-tailed meow back. During the fourth battle, Naruto's nine tails were pumped away. It was his father who put the nine tails into his body and immediately jumped alive. It's a pity that newborn babies can only make a wow w. No matter how Naruto spoke, only the sound of wow was heard between the two of them. Wei Feng Shui Man and Jioshina all looked at Naruto with a kind face. You see how cute he is, you have to believe in our son. Naruto decisively extended two delicate middle fingers. Bo Feng Shui Man. Naruto, this gesture is not very elegant, don't stretch it in the future. Saying that, Bo Feng Shui Man also intimately helped Naruto and broke his fingers back. Naruto. Wow. The nine tails, who had already touched the seal, saw that he was about to be sealed again. Angrily, he stabbed Naruto with his big paw. As a result, in order to retain Chakra's Wave Feng Shui Man and Joshinai, he was instantly selected by the Nine Tails Strength MVP String 2. As half of the nine tails were cut apart, they were pulled into Naruto's body. The huge chakra that suddenly appeared instantly knocked Naruto out. After Watergate's death, the Flying Thunder God enchantment he had arranged disappeared instantly. The ape flying sun outside the enchantment rushed in with the dark part of the sealing class. He hurriedly hugged Naruto, who had a seal on his stomach with one hand. Regardless of the life or death of Bo Feng Shui Man and Joshinai. Damn Watergate. He actually sealed the nine tails to his son. You must know that this is a tool of war in the village, a nuclear weapon used to deter each other with other shinobi villages. With the disappearance of the powerhouses of the level of Senju Pillar and Uchiha Madara, the importance of tailed beasts in the major villages has increased. Even the second-generation Hokage was killed by two golden horns and silver horns that gnawed the nine-tailed flesh. It is enough to illustrate the power of the tailed beast. Of course, this terrifying power must be in the hands of himself as the Hokage, although he is still only a retired Hokage. Originally, he finally brainwashed the Feng Shui Men couple, successfully supported a puppet Hokage and a battlefield pepper heir of the Will of Fire. The result is on this night of the nine tails, the excessive Hokage that he had painstakingly cultivated for the Sarutobi clan and the Uzumaki clan that had only been found by destroying the Land of Waves, were both martyred like this? That's right, martyrdom. At that time, the ape-flying teeth outside the enchantment were almost crushed. Obviously, there are many ways to seal. The dark part of himself and the sealing class has arrived. As a result, it was blocked by the enchantment of the Wave Feng Shui Gate. He never expected that Bo Feng Shui Man was a big lover. Seeing that his daughter-in-law was going to die, he actually chose to die together. It is also thanks to his own Will of Fire that is in place. It was good that before he died, the nine tails stayed in Konoha. Sarutobi looked at the gossip seal on Naruto and frowned. He snorted coldly in his heart. It's worthy of being the fourth generation. Is this insurance given to prevent accidents with your children? That's right. Wei Feng Shui Gate is the fourth generation of Hokage who took over the Dark Division, even under the influence of the Will of Fire, but the darkness of Konoha village is also well known. Even Kakashi knows to warn Uchiha Itachi not to step into the power vortex of Konoha's high-level struggle. How could the Wei Feng Shui Gate, who was a Hokage, not know? So he chose to go to Yellow Spring with Joshinai. The only thing that could be done for Naruto, it was to seal the 9 tails inside Naruto's body, because he knows the importance of human pillar power to the village. The village will definitely spare no effort to protect Naruto's safety. It may be isolated and excluded, but it is absolutely guaranteed that Naruto will grow up alive and securely. So when Pain attacked the village, after Hakashuemon knew that Naruto was not regarded as the son of a hero living in the village, he was not too surprised, because Naruto has grown up alive and securely. In his opinion, this is enough. But it was clear that this wasn't enough for Naruto the Traverser. Sarutobi looked at the fainted Naruto, whose 2 middle fingers were raised, revealing question marks all over his face. What is this look? Episode 2, Relying on Strong Vitality. After Jyoshina finished explaining the last words of letting Sarutobi take care of Naruto, he returned to the Pure Land. At this time, Naruto's consciousness appeared in front of a huge iron cage door. The 9 tails looked at Naruto with scarlet eyes, their eyes full of indignation. TMs. The previous Mito and Kuzuna are also left alone. Those 2 perverts, with their own chakra, were able to suppress themselves. Now they have sealed me on a little baby. Who is this TM looking down on? The chakra of the 9 tails dances wildly. The madness hit the gossip seal, but the cage did not waver in the slightest. On the contrary, a small part of chakra was transformed into Naruto's chakra by the gossip seal, and it was integrated into Naruto's body. That's right. As a swirling family with redder hair and purer blood, when Bo Feng Shui-men saw his son's blonde hair, he knew that the swirling blood in his body was pitiful. That's why he chose to seal only half of the 9 tails and put it in Naruto's body. Because Naruto's body is simply not enough to withstand this huge chakra. The reason why Naruto chakra in the anime is powerful, all because of the gossip seal he set. The 4 elephant seals and the 4 elephant seals will draw a steady stream of 9-tailed chakra and transform it into Naruto's own chakra. Therefore, when Naruto graduated from ninja school, he would have a chakra amount of nearly 100 calories. And now Naruto, chakra is outrageous. This is why the 9 tails are so angry. The quality level of human column force is getting worse and worse. Now you still need to split and seal yourself, who to look down on. The chakra left behind by Naihobo Feng Shui-men and Joshinai is too terrifying. No matter how the 9 tails tossed, the gossip seal did not move. The 9 tails all scolded with a look of MMP at this time. This TM is called chakra? Not only did he use the Flying Thunder God array to take over his own tailed beast Jade, but he also used the Flying Thunder God to transfer such a huge chakra himself. What's even more outrageous is that he still sealed himself so firmly with the gossip seal. You call yourself no chakra? If your chakra is full, Lao Tzu doesn't crawl away. The 9 tails lay in the seal with a depressed expression. He looked at the baby outside the cage and snorted coldly. Anyway, I have time. That's right, it's just time to kill yourself. And at this time, looking at the Tsundere 9 tails, Naruto slowly opened his eyes. Although I know that the character of the 9 tails is actually Era, but watching the 9 tails talk to himself inside himself is especially interesting. The Oni knew how many words it had said to itself in Naruto's body before he arrived in the sealed space. So after Naruto was taught by Jiraiya to enter the sealed space, the 9 tails only complained that they came in now. Iai Luo in the next village, after giving birth to Shoha, began to force Lai Lai in his body. On the other hand, Naruto was not taught at all in the early stage, so I don't know how to put consciousness into the space of the gossip seal. But Naruto who crossed over was different. As a human being, the biggest advantage he has is that his soul power is strong. So he appeared directly in the sealed space after he fell into a coma. He glanced at his baby-like body, he looked at the 9-tailed man lying on the ground like a tuha and suddenly had a plan in his heart. Face the days that will be marginalized, he decided to save himself. And the first step, naturally, is to gain the favor of the 9 tails. It is said that the newborn baby is the most innocent and pure, capable of all evil. So Naruto directly turned over and lay down towards the 9 tails. The 9 tails looked confused, looking at Naruto who crawled in directly from the crack of the cage. It hurriedly scolded Naruto with a grin. But Naruto knew, now that the Bagua seal was solid, the 9 tails had no power to harm him at all. So he climbed directly along the tail of the 9 tails as if he couldn't see it. Abominable. Little ghost, what are you doing? Hurry down. Don't climb your 9-tailed uncle's head. I'm going to eat you. The 9 tails whined in the cage, but the body is very honest and motionless, for fear of accidentally knocking off this newborn little pitiful. Naruto's heart was ecstatic. Sure enough, I bet right. The Nine Tails are also unlucky children who long to be understood. After all, I got a good land in the wild. Suddenly someone came to the door. Then say I think your power is too dangerous. Then it was directly slapped on the ground and sealed for decades. Who put this on? Who can stand it? Today's Naruto is as innocent in the eyes of the Nine Tails as he was when the 6 Tao immortals created them. So although that Tsundere he shouted no, but the body is very honest lying on the ground. Even the 9 big tails were patted under his head, for fear that Naruto would fall. And just when Naruto brushed the 9-tailed favorability, Konoha is mourning the ninjas who died on the night of the 9 tails. Among them, standing in the C position is naturally Naruto's chief parents, Wei Feng Shuemen and Uzumaki Gyoshinai. Sarutobi looked at the portraits of the two and said, Watergate, Gyoshinai, you have protected the entire Konoha village with your lives, and the future of Konoha village. At this time, Naruto sat up from the basket. Looking at the blurry Konoha ninja below, he slowly extended his middle finger. Everyone. Wipe. Welcome to the National Day 7-day-long holiday and read books and enjoy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP bonds. Episode 3. A few more days passed. Konoha F4 held a convention at the Hokage building. Midomanitis took the lead. Although I successfully repelled the 9 tails, the sacrifice paid for it was too great. The sleeping Xiaochun on the side threw bricks and led the Jade Road. We don't have time to wallow in grief, and the immediate need now is to choose a suitable successor to fill the vacancy of Hokage. At this time, Narashikaku below said very wisely, why don't you just entrust it to the generation of ninjas after Watergate? As a representative of high intelligence, he naturally knew that this was impossible. After all, the generation of 4 generations is already quite low. His next generation is something that only Kakashi can see, but only at this time he was a teenager, when the fire shadow of chicken feathers. He said this because as an IQ representative, he knew it was time to take sides. And how could Konoha F4 let the position of Hokage fall next to his home? Sure enough, Koharu immediately excused. Although there are excellent shinobi among them, it is undeniable that their experience is not enough to lead everyone. Narashikahiza pretended to have a headache and asked, so, who else? The big snake pill in the crowd was expressionless. Lao Tzu is dead, right? Tuanzong was happy and ready to speak, and finally it was his turn. Before the words could be spoken, the 3 generations on the side stood up with a swoop. As a last resort, this is an extraordinary period, and I am willing to take on this heavy responsibility. Those Shainin with low EQ and low IQ looked at the 3 generations with a stunned face. The patriarchs of the great ninja clan, such as Narashikahiza and Hinata Hayashi, showed such an expression. Because in the 3 wars, Sarutobi slashed and calculated many ninjas. When he was about to gain the fruits of victory, he chose to reconcile with Yenin village. In the end, the major ninja clans not only suffered heavy losses, but also did not get the loot they deserved. As a result, the strength of the major ninja clans has dropped significantly, and for a while and a half it will not be able to return to its original strength at all. In the end, it aroused public anger, but this is all arranged by the ape flying sun, because he had already cultivated an heir to the will of fire to be his own minister. Although nominally retired, however, he can still control the Konoha regime behind the scenes. On the contrary, the Sarutobi clan is because he preserved his strength, but he became the 2nd largest family in Konoha after the Uchiha clan. This made the major ninja clans who suffered heavy losses have to knock their teeth off and swallow them into their stomachs. Of course, these ninjas are not vegetarians. At that time, Sarutobi Shinosuke, who was the commander of the Dark Army, was killed by them. Otherwise, where is the need for ape flying sun chopping to personally go out, now, directly led his eldest son on? So the real great ninja all know, it is impossible for the ape flying sun to give up the position of Hokage. Only marginalized little ninjas who have little political intelligence would be surprised by this. Mito Menyen, who was cooperating on the side, immediately said, oh. You're willing to go out of the way. Koharu also hurriedly nodded in agreement. Since you agreed. Wait a minute. The Tuanzong on the side was anxious. TMD, he had never seen anything so shameless. When he first chose the 4th generation, he recommended the big snake pill. As a result, this Be-Raised said that the big snake pill was too strong to kill, and he made a wave feng shui gate with his backhand. The big snake pill dutifully led Konoha to fight 3 battles. What is wrong with the killing heart? This is a war. Now Bluffing Shueman is dead. Do you go straight back out of the mountain yourself? What about your face? Tuanzong sneered and looked at the ape flying sun and said, you once gave up the position of Hokage. Do you really have the ability to continue to be competent? In fact, although you rushed to the scene of the Ninetales rebellion, you still did not rescue the fourth generation. Ape Fairy smiled and did not speak. The dog-legged Mido Menyen on the side immediately stood up and shouted, "You're talking too much." Koharu also answered on the side, "At that time, where was your group?" Tuanzong widened his eyes when he heard this. Wow. Overcast. His own roots have been sent to keep an eye on Uchiha. As long as the discerning person is not blind, he knows that the kaleidoscope symbol in the eyes of the nine tails is the eye of the riding wheel. But I can't say it yet, because the Uchiha family is still watching. Ape Fei Richo laughed at this time. It's my old man who can't help himself, so let's do this, to the next Hokage to grow up position, just because I'm in excess, this is always okay, right? For a while, the ninjas in the venue were talking a lot. What they don't know is that this is the purpose of the ape flying sun. That was the game prepared for his other son, Ape Fei Asma, who had not yet grown up. First of all, Nara Shikaku proposed that Hokage should be succeeded by the next generation. Asma, a teenage boy who is still just a ninja, naturally has no ability to be a Hokage. Then stand up and say the position of Hokage for the time being. Wait until Asma grows up. He has already brainwashed the nine tails, and when the time comes, someone will have the pillar power in hand. Is his son still worried about being a Hokage? And the temporary word himself will not let those ninjas who are pit themselves tear their faces. Simply perfect plan. Immediately, the plan for the 3 generations to re-emerge from the mountain was decided. And after the meeting, the undying Tuanzong once again found the ape flying Sunchop. Sunchop. Give Naruto the vortex to me, and I will brainwash him into a qualified weapon. After all, the root is nominally a training institution for the Dark Department. Naruto's identity as a pillar force should indeed be cultivated by him. However, Sarutobi Ritsu refused with a solemn face. Nope. He is the son of 4 generations, how can he receive such cruel training? Tuanzong looked at the ape flying sun and said angrily, didn't you see him give us the middle finger at the funeral? At first glance, he is a rebellious guy. This kind of person needs to be brainwashed from an early age. Ape flying sun snorted coldly. What does a child understand? Shimura Danzo, Nika, you'll regret it. Sarutobi Sunchop, Danzo, I am the Hokage. P.S. New book asking for data. Welcome to the National Day 7-day long holiday and read books and enjoy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP bonds. Episode 4. 3 years are fleeting, even if you have been mentally prepared, but seeing myself just showed that I started to remember. Just when he threw himself into the bachelor apartment, Naruto was still disgusted. What a 3-year-old. In Naruto's previous life, his Miao's kindergarten hadn't even started yet. Even if the children of this world are precocious, they can't be so pitted. It was clear that Sarutobi was planning to leave Naruto alone from a young age, because only then can he only show a little kindness. It can make Naruto treat him as a loved one. Naruto in the original book ran to the river to catch fish, because he couldn't afford to eat poor food. As soon as he finished grilling, this old man came up to rub the fish and eat it. At that time, Naruto was just about 4 years old. Deliberately not giving him enough living expenses, he also ran to rub the fish he had worked hard to catch, and then used it to create a chance encounter to instill the will of fire in him. But no human being can do such a heart-wrenching thing. Open the door. Naruto walked into the small broken house with a sad face. He knew that the dark part was still watching him at this time, and he couldn't show anything abnormal for the time being. He was waiting for an opportunity. Wait for the 9 tails to pry the gossip seal into a slit. You have the whole card to lift the table. Come to think of it, Naruto went directly into the sealed space and asked the 9 tails, 9 llamas, how is the lock picked? At this time, after 3 years of intentional getting along, the 9 llamas had long been of the same heart as Naruto. After all, Naruto is real, it's what he grew up watching. From ignorant to treating him as the closest era. Naruto attacked poor Era's psychological defense step by step. Naruto, who has the advantage of the plot, it's not too easy to fool a simple tsundere fox. In particular, he also has an identity as a baby that can make anyone let their guard down. Noisy, 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 where is the seal left by your cheap daddy so easy to pry? I will say that you use my chakra more, and I can open the seal more with more use. Naruto looked at the 9 tails like a fool. With your chakra? If I use your chakra, don't talk about you, it's hard for me to let go. If you can let me use the power of the 4 tails, I will not be so depressed. 9 tails rolled his eyes. Shut up you hold a yarn, I just held back, I've been locked up for decades. After a few years of getting along, Naruto managed to crook the character of the 9 tails. The two have become good friends who say everything, spit on Konoha together every day, spit on ninjas. When the 9 tails used to coax Naruto to sleep, he also told Naruto the story of the 6 immortals as a bedtime story. This also gave Naruto some deeper understanding of the anime plot of his past life. And the 9 Lamas' perception of malice and kindness also let Naruto know, not everyone has ill will towards themselves. At the very least, the ninjas of the big families who knew their true identities were not as hated as Naruto thought. The people who really look at Naruto with cold eyes are those low-level civilian ninjas who do not know Naruto's identity. For example, it is like Ebisu, a scrap teacher in Konohamaru. And the Hyuga clan, the Inuga clan, the Oilgrow clan, and the Inuzuka clan were all considered henchmen of the wave Feng Shui men when they were in power for 4 generations. So they will give some help to Naruto, whether they want to or not. This is something that Naruto did not find when watching the plot in a previous life. And this also let Naruto know why Konoha collapsed before the plan. The current patriarch of the Pig Deer Butterfly and the patriarch of the Oil Woman clan are all in retirement. Because these families are all descendants belonging to 4 generations. After seeing Sarutobi treat Naruto like this, all chose to continue the task from abandonment. Anyway, except for war missions, the rest of the tasks are voluntary. And these large families have their own task channels and side income. It's not like those civilian ninjas who need to rely on Hokage to take missions to earn money. It was as if the Uchiha clan had once achieved the task of escorting the concubine in the Dragon Blood Eye plot by themselves. The Nara clan has its own medicinal forest, the Akimichi clan has a yakiniku shop, and the Yamanaka clan has a flower shop and other small shops. They simply don't have to rush for tasks. Due to the Sarutobi slashing forces, they were unable to contact Naruto in an open manner. Therefore, he can only tell his children not to worry about Naruto's demon fox's identity and become friends with him. Even Hinata Hayashi sent her daughter over to Naruto to stand on the platform. Unfortunately, in the end, he was cut by Sarutobi Hinata and directly knocked the Hyuga clan for the peace of the village, and the Hinata knocked out. This calmed down many ninjas. This Hokage in front of him is a ruthless person who buried his teacher's Thousand Hands clan. Even the Thousand Hands in-laws Vortex family did not let go. It is precisely because of this, Konoha has the complete inheritance of the Uzumaki clan. It's not at all like other villages. On the other hand, it is the Wuing village that has destroyed the Whirlpool family behind the pot, but it is worried all day because of the violent force of the human pillar. In the end, in desperation, in order to express his dissatisfaction, they all chose to retire directly at their peak. Episode 5. To this, the ape flying sun slash did not stop it. After all, it is peacetime. The role of these family ninjas is not that great. And the main thing is that the ninja school created by the 2nd generation Hokage has begun to bear fruit. A large number of civilian ninjas took the place of the original family ninjas. So in non-war times, the retreat of this group of families is more conducive to Sarutobi slashing to win over civilian ninjas through missions. After all, the number of missions is limited, and the number of ninjas has increased because of the Ninja World War. At first, Mater Day needed to kneel and beg others to form a team to take the task. Today's ape flying sun's reputation among civilian ninjas is absolutely unmanned. But in the family ninja, it is already a stinking mess. That's why almost everyone in Konoha's collapse plan chose to sit on the sidelines. And the discovery of this new situation let Naruto have some calculations about the rest of his life. However, the implementation of the plan requires a certain means of self-protection. At the very least, there are whole cards for this table, so Naruto would urge the 9 tails to pick the lock every day. As long as you can drive to the 4 tails, you can also change your life to an ape flying sun. You must know that the strength of the 4 tails can be seriously injured by the inability to kill the hand. Dealing with an elderly monkey is a breeze. It's just that with Naruto's current body, it is estimated that the 4 tails will lie down for at least half a year. Not to mention Naruto, even the 9 tails were reluctant to do this. After all, this was his own vision. At this time, Naruto was saying something that the 9 tails couldn't understand at all. It had always thought it was a spell that Naruto didn't know where to look. Shadow Shadow? Hey, are you there? A starter package? After Naruto finished his daily dreams, he reluctantly withdrew from the sealed space. For the past 3 years, Naruto has been fantasizing every day that he can have his own Goldfinger as a crosser. But the reality is harsh. He called for 3 years. The 9 tails almost thought of him as a neurotic and did not see the shadow of the system. Naruto had no choice but to take out the record scroll that his foster caregiver had given him. It is written about chakrati alchemy and 3-body art. If a 3-year-old wants to live alone, he naturally needs to have the means to cope with some difficulties. And chakra is undoubtedly a very basic umbrella. In the anime, Naruto once jumped above Kajiwa after being instilled with the will of fire by Sarutobi. Now Naruto knows, it turns out that it started from being thrown away from his own life. Ape Flying Sun Chopper had already given this thing to him. Originally, he also thought that with systematic help, he could happily become the CEO without doing anything every day, and marry Baifume to the pinnacle of life. Who thought to shout the system for 3 years, no feedback at all. This made Naruto have to admit that he didn't even have the necessary plugin for a traverser. But it's not completely without plugins. After all, Naruto himself is a hanger. At this time, Naruto didn't have to refine chakra at all. The Nine Tails were able to feed his chakra back to Naruto by picking the lock every day. This is precisely why Feng Shui Gate uses the 4 positive and negative elephant seals. He can decompose the chakra of the Nine Tails to Naruto's chakra. So even if Naruto doesn't have to do anything, there is a Nine Tails who are adding chakra to him all the time. Originally, the intention of the Feng Shui Gate was to let the Nine Tails constantly add chakra to Naruto and then suppress the Nine Tails. But Naruto's relationship with the Nine Tails now, also suppressed? Pressed yarn. Naruto wished that the Nine Tails quickly picked the lock out. That's the perfect human pillar force. Can be promoted to the peak of the shadow level in an instant. The kind that is invincible under the super shadow. Of course, if you want to go further, you naturally need the bonus of the immortal mode. So now Naruto is only 3 years old. However, at this time, the amount of chakra he could use was almost the same as when he returned from his practice. That's the amount of blue of 4 Kakashi. Kakashi once said when he was helping Naruto practice spiral shuriken, Naruto's total number of chakras is about 100 calories. In order to suppress the Nine Tails, only 4 cards can be used. At this time, Naruto, who was just 3 years old, already had so much chakra. More importantly, Naruto at this time did not have to worry about the unstable control of chakra caused by the lock picking of the Nine Tails, because he can make a temporary stop picking the lock when using the chakra at any time. That is to say, Naruto at this time is a terrifying genius who has both the ninjutsu talent of the Feng Shui Gate and the chakra amount of Uzumaki Jyoshinai. Naruto opened the scroll that contained the 3-body technique, floating a glance at the contents, shouted to the 9 tails in his body, 9 llamas, you wait a while to pick the lock, I'll practice ninjutsu. The 9 tails complained with a look of disdain, what's the use of practicing this garbage ninjutsu? It's better to wait for me to open the seal, and a shot of tailed beast Jade flattens Konoha. Naruto rolled his eyes when he heard this. I see you're floating, flat Konoha? You can figure it out, there is more than one kaleidoscope in Konoha at this time. His Miao's Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Shursui are both alive and well. The 2 pairs of kaleidoscopes that hurt Naruto the most are both pro-ape flying sun-chopping anti-bone boys. One thinks of rewriting his family's will with another god. The other simply gave up resistance and let his son exterminate the clan, to neurosis. In terms of being brainwashed, these 2 are not much worse than the big filial weasel. After all, even Sasuke's name was based on the name of Sarutobi who beheaded his father. As the 9 tails retracted his own chakra, Naruto clearly sensed the amount of chakra surging in his body. He glanced at the transfiguration. Immediately, a figure appeared in his mind. Change. Bang, a puff of smoke cleared. Sarutobi, who was sitting in Hokage's office, instantly sprayed nosebleeds and flew out. Emerging from under the smoke was one of the teachers in AT Seed that he had to format before he died. Episode 6. Naruto felt his gaze disappear through the 9-tailed chakra. A look of contempt appeared on his face. Sure enough, it came out of a poor ditch, and 3 generations of Hokage. I really don't have knowledge, so this output will not work. Bang, another puff of smoke cleared. Naruto returned to his original appearance. Sure enough, as Naruto had envisioned, without the troubles of the 9 tails, Naruto's ninjutsu talent inherited from Feng Shui Mon was taken to the extreme. You must know that this is a civilian bloodline that can overwhelm the mutated bloodline of the Vortex family. The red hair of the other whirlpool who intermarried with foreign races turned black. Only Naruto's shiny blonde hairstyle didn't even have a hint of red. Of course, this also led to Naruto not being born with the huge chakra of the Vortex clan. And Watergate also noticed this. That's why he chose to use the Bagua seal to sage the 9-tailed wool, the shortcomings used to make up for Naruto's lack of chakra. I have to say that in the control of chakra, the Watergate is considered a perverted level among the successive generations of fire shadows. After all, imitating the tailed beast Jade to create a spiral pill is simply impossible without a strong enough chakra-precise control. And Naruto, who developed the spiral pill shuriken that did not even reach the Watergate, was superior in chakra's ability to control it. It's just that because of the 9 tails daily lock picking, Naruto can't accurately control his chakra, so he can't even use a doppelganger. And after Jiraiya taught Naruto to master the 9-tailed chakra, Naruto's ninjutsu talent is even more rising. In Boruto, beating his son can easily release the Tudu and Tolyu wall. This is enough to show that Naruto's ninjutsu talent was only suppressed because of the 9-tailed chakra. And now Naruto has no Ninetales interference. Match the amount of chakra with 4 cards. The basic ninjutsu of the 3-body technique can be learned directly just by looking at it. Not only that, Naruto had tried before he could get his hands on the scroll. The basic operation of climbing trees and treading water is even more convenient. What Naruto lacks most now is combat skills and ninjutsu. He now waits for the Ninetales to pry open as many gossip seals as possible to make his whole cards hard enough to avoid the upcoming PUA. After all, Naruto was not arrogant enough to be invincible to Konoha, with only a temporary opening of 4 tails. The current ape flying sun chop is not the old man who is physically exhausted 9 years later. And the root has also been cultivated to specifically suppress the 9 tails of Muda Yamato. Although his wooden dun can only engage in greening, however, the Mu Dun attribute has a natural suppression effect on the tailed beast. While looking for Sasuke, Naruto once broke out 4 tails and beat Orochimaru, but was eventually suppressed by Yamato's Kaiden. Coupled with Kakashi, a stupid fork who was brainwashed by the 3 generations of Hokage, with Naruto's current strength, he can't completely set off the table showdown. So want to really get rid of the tragic fate that is coming, you have to plan well and make use of the connections left by your cheap dad. And in the Hokage office, Sarutobi wiped off his nosebleed and got up from under the table. Even with his years of peeping into the bathhouse, seeing the teacher Naruto brought from his previous life was bloody. After all, he was promoted, rich, and killed his wife, and now he is hungry and thirsty all day. Of course, this is just a superficial act of his confusion in the dark parts. The character used to prove himself is a good Hokage who is close to the people. And as the highest political means in the Hokage of all generations, he naturally would not be so unbearable. He sat back down at the table, looking at Naruto, who was already lacking interest in ninjutsu scrolls and the crystal ball. He looked amazed. Is it worthy of being the son of Watergate and Joshinai? The talent of ninjutsu is not inferior to the 4th generation at all. It seems that the plan should be carried out as soon as possible. A flash of fire flashed in Ape-Face Sun's eyes. Naruto's talent was even more powerful than he thought. As long as he instills the will of fire in Naruto well, when he can fully control the 9 tails, it will be the time when the Sarutobi clan will completely become the #1 clan in the ninja world. At that time, he would like to see who dares to say that this Hokage is timid and indecisive. After the death of the 4th generation, he has not been idle in the past few years. He first used the Nabio King Danzo to successfully bring Kakashi, the only foreign-owned Sharingan, under his command. Moreover, he used Danzo's ambition for the position of Hokage to successfully seduce him to take the initiative to assassinate himself. Yamato, the only wooden ninja who has studied with Orochimaru for more than 10 years, takes control of Danzo into his own hands. And in order to prevent new wooden ninjas from threatening their status, he also used human experiments as a pretext to drive his best disciple, Orochimaru, out of Konoha. To know that the 2nd generation studied the human experiment of soil rebirth, even the 1st generation only stopped the experiment, and there was no punishment at all. How could a war genius like Orochimaru be driven out of Konoha for studying human experiments? You must know that the Muduan experiment that was opened when the pillars were originally opened was initiated by him. Later, when Kakashi secretly searches for information after discovering that Yamato has Kaiden, or did he tell Kakashi the complete plan for Danzo and Orochimaru's human experiments? Even the number of experimenters and Yamato's age are well known. It is said that the experiment did not have his acquiescence, and the ghost believed. And using this excuse to drive Orochimaru out of Konoha was like a child's play in the eyes of those who really understood. So in the Konoha collapse plan, Morihiki said that Orochimaru had come to avenge his loss of the Hokage's position. And now, after the 3 years of efforts of Ape Flying Sun, it is also fruitful. Now the Sharingan and Mudu cells that control the 9 tails are all in their own hands. Just brainwash Naruto well and instill the will of fire. His position in Konoha can easily be as stable as an old dog. Wait for Asuma to grow up and pass on the position of Hokage. The power of Konoha village will be able to control the Sarutobi clan forever. Episode 7. Ape Flying Sun was overjoyed to turn off the telescope technique. Everything is developing according to its own plan. He knocked his pipe on the table and sneered. Before the plan is implemented, those large families that have been close to 4 generations before Konoha should beat and knock well. After all, if he wanted to sing red face at Naruto, no one could compete with him. And now the Hyuga clan and the Inuga butterfly clan, which are friendly with the 4 generations, don't seem to take their words to heart. A cold light flashed in Ape-Face Sun's eyes. They must understand who is the Hokage of Konoha village now. And at this time, Kakashi, who had silver-white hair and a cat-faced mask, appeared in front of his desk with a snap. Lord Hokage, the mission of Yunin village has already set out, and I believe that it will arrive in Konoha village soon. After hearing this, a bright light suddenly flashed in his heart. How did you almost forget this group of old six who like the blood succession limit? Last time, when they wanted to kidnap Jioshinai, they let Buofeng Shuimen show off their operations. If he hadn't sent someone to secretly stop those Shangnan, even if Buofeng Shuimen was a genius, it would be impossible to save Jioshinai from Yunin village. It was precisely because of his own operation that Jioshina stayed in Konoha with a dead heart. It is a pity that the big lover of Buofeng Shuimen chose to martyr with Jioshinai. The overused chess pieces that he had cultivated with great strength and obedience were gone. The next generation of asthma has not yet grown up. If it weren't for Watergate's death, he didn't have to lick his face and ran to find the daimyo to go through the back door and re-emerge from the mountain to temporarily replace the Hokage. In order to weaken the power of the major families, he forcibly made a peace agreement with Chicho of Awayne village at the expense of the position of Hokage. Now that Hokage is competing again, he has to run to borrow the majesty of the daimyo to calm the anger of the major ninjas. Now this group of Yunin village's simple-minded and well-developed Taihanin revisited Konoha. I just need to guide myself a little. A weird smile suddenly appeared on Ape Feiri's face. He said to Kakashi, I remember that it will soon be the day when the Hyuga clan held the ceremony of separating the family. You go and talk to the Hyuga clan, just say that the Yunin village mission will also participate in this ceremony together, so that they can feel the strength of my Konoha clan. Kakashi nodded yes. A momentary disappeared from the spot. Sarutobi nodded in satisfaction. After 3 years of brainwashing, Kakashi has been successfully rebrainwashed into a qualified killing machine that only follows orders. The dark part was originally dedicated to dealing with some dirty work that could not be put on the countertop. Let the 4 generations be like a group of sunny big boys. Although he raised 4 generations to be the heir of the will of fire for better control, but that doesn't mean the dark part has to be as emotional as the 4 generations. You must know that the Dark Department is originally an assassination tactical special unit, responsible for handling some tasks that are extremely bad or boring in nature. Once mixed with personal feelings, it will easily lead to mission failure. Now Kakashi has been successfully brainwashed by himself. Even Naruto, the son of his former teacher, would not hold any good feelings. In this way, he can safely let Kakashi monitor and control Naruto at that time. Sarutobi watched Kakashi leave with a smile and a thumbs up in his heart. The group of old sixes in Yunin village would definitely be hungry for the white eyes of the Hyuga clan when they saw the establishment ceremony of the Hyuga clan. Ape Feiry smiled and smoked a cigarette. He was very close to the greedy and death-fearing character of the elders of the big family. At that time, he must let them know that in this Konoha, the old man is the Hokage. And just when the ape flying sun was proud, Naruto also thought of going somewhere with Sarutobi Hinata. The only difference is that he is now thinking about how to keep Hinata's difference. As a traverser, he naturally needs to figure out how to get rid of the control of the ape flying sun. Without Goldfinger, he had to pay attention to the current second largest family in Konoha. As long as you can successfully save Hinata, then I have a respite in the following days. After all, it's a big clan like Hinata. Even the ape flying sun Chop did not dare to turn his face easily. It can be seen from the Senju dealing with the Uchiha clan. It took him decades to make the Uchiha clan a traitor, and he was finally cut off by Sarutobi. And the Hyuga clan is not as good as the Uchiha clan, but in Konoha village, it is also one of the largest families. Even the ape flying sun slash could only use the deterrent power of Yunin village to knock them. As long as he can gain the favor of the 2 brothers Hinata Hayashi and Hinata, then you will be very comfortable in the next days. After all, both of them belong to people with heavy feelings, even if it is subject to the family elders, but it's still easy to make yourself comfortable before going to ninja school. Naruto lay on the bed and ran his consciousness into the sealed space of the 9 tails. 9 llamas, can you beat the elite now? Naruto remembered that it was Kaminobi who led the team who kidnapped Hinata. Being able to take Hinata away from the White Eye family must be a good strength. Although only ran out of the courtyard wall, but it is enough to show that he still has 2 brushes. And what Naruto wanted to do was to kill him directly instead of Hinata Hayashi. Although this will expose some of the strength of the 9 tails, but in Naruto's opinion, this is precisely the whole card that makes Sarutobi fearful. As long as you can show the strength of the upper ninja level, combined with the 4th generation sealed in the body and the chakra of Jioshinai, and the platform of the Hyuga clan, the second largest clan in Konoha, it's enough for the ape flying sun to chop on the bright side, and can't play small tricks on himself. At that time I will be able to carry out the next plan. Episode 8. The 9 llamas heard Naruto's inquiry and said with a look of contempt, Shainen? What kind of garbage is that? Lao Tzu can spray him to death with a mouthful of phlegm. Naruto had black lines all over his head. These 9 llamas were directly distorted by the speaking habits they had brought from their previous lives. Say yes, sunder a fox. It became like a two-hap. However, such a 9 llamas made Naruto feel more close to the people. Naruto rolled his eyes and complained, "I'm talking about you borrowing the 9-tailed chakra I released." At this time, Naruto was able to barely open the second tail. That is, the state in which Naruto beat the second pillar of the Heavenly Curse seal after the Chunin exam. Don't look at the sky that was shattered. That's all forcibly pretended by the animation team in order to set off the protagonist. The real combat effectiveness of the two at that time was also a superior ninja level. After all, when the 4 people of Chunin Shinobu dealt with a few special shinobi in the Fire Gunma, they also had to open the second state of the spell seal. At that time, the strength of Sasuke and Naruto definitely did not reach the elite upper ninja level. Naruto estimated that the chakra cloak in the 3-tailed state could barely compete with the elite shinobu. And Naruto in the 4-tailed state has the strength of a severely injured shadow-level powerhouse. After all, at that time, Shio, who was out of control, suffered serious internal injuries in order to subdue him. Of course, this is also related to the fact that Jirai also needs to capture Naruto alive. So Naruto probed the bottom of the 9 tails before executing his plan. After all, a crosser himself does not even have experience in fighting. When the time comes, you still have to rely on the instinct of the 9-tailed chakra to kill the enemy. Expecting yourself to rely on the powerful chakra to fight the enemy is undoubtedly a fool's dream. Now Naruto is like a child with a sledgehammer. Even if he has strength, he can't play it. As soon as I think of it, Naruto was envious of the crossers next door. People are basically full marks for combat skills as soon as they are born. The system can be easily used by giving a skill casually, and there is no need to cultivate to adapt to anything. Alas, it's still good to have a system. Naruto couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. The 9 llamas rolled his eyes at Naruto, who was getting nervous again. He snorted haughtily, "Even if you borrow your body, you can easily pinch to death. You must know that the strongest part of your yang attribute 9-tailed chakra is the strengthening and recovery ability of the body. No matter what ninjutsu is used on the opposite side, it is directly exchanged for injury. As long as there is no strength like the 1,000-hand pillar, even an elite shinobi may be killed by an explosive talisman. Ninja, as a high-attack crispy assassin class, encounters human pillar force. This kind of high-blooded shield warrior is simply killed." The 9-tailed fox glanced at Naruto suspiciously. "What are you asking this for? Are you going to fight with that old man of the 3rd generation? I advise you not to rush it. The seal of the 4th generation is too strong. Don't trouble him until you get the key in the toad's stomach." Although the 9 tails often muzzle to destroy Konoha, but now that he is bound to Naruto, he naturally does not want to watch Naruto go to his own death. Naruto listened to the words of the 9 tails and smiled. This Sundara fox really has a straight mouth. Obviously he cares about himself, and when he says it, his taste changes. Don't worry, I won't take the initiative to provoke that old immortal with enough food. Although in the anime, what Sarutobi did to Naruto made him indignant as a traverser. But at this time, Sarutobi Hinata has not yet launched PUA mind control over Naruto. Naruto didn't have much deep understanding of the coming tribulation. The hatred for the ape-flying sun chop is not as blackened as the parallel world wave wind face hemp. After all, he is just a foreign crosser, and he really can't empathize with what will happen in the future. But what I have to do now is to prevent those painful things from happening back to me, then using the talent, strength, and status of the original body to enjoy life in this Hokage world is Naruto's purpose. As for revenge or something, he was originally a revenge, and he had a chicken feather revenge. At most, in order to protect oneself and realize the dream of advancing to the 6th level in the future, obtaining the strength of immortality, and then traveling the universe to open a harem, he strives to improve his strength and power. Therefore, Naruto had no intention of taking the initiative to find trouble for the 3 generations, because of the original miserable life of the original body. What he has to do now is to get rid of his upcoming painful life, and then improve his strength in the dark, making plans for the future 4 battles and the invasion of the Dadama clan. Pretend to be forced. The bubble girl teases the girl is not fragrant. Why bother yourself for the misery of others? Now Naruto got the affirmative reply of the 9 tails, and he was in a good mood immediately. The next thing is to stare at the Yunin village mission. When he kidnapped Hinata, Hinata just killed the messenger of Yunin village in 1 step. After all, it is impossible for ape-flying sun chopper to hand over his 9-tailed human pillar power in the name of peace. When the time comes, cooperate with his exposed strength and the light of the Hyuga clan. Ape-flying sun chopper must be able to be much gentler on his own brainwashing methods. That is, the ostrich that belongs to Zelaya because of the big snake pill thing. He chose to escape reality and left Konoha, unwilling to be caught between his disciple and teacher. Otherwise, with his own power, he can also fox fake tiger power. After all, compared to the popularity of the great snake pill, Jiraiya's reputation in Konoha is still very high. Naruto, who had let go of his heart, withdrew from the space. For the sake of the happy life that is coming, he decided to celebrate it with this month's living expenses. Anyway, according to Naruto's vision, if the plan goes well, he will soon be able to escape the poor days. There is no need to search for the living expenses of Ape Flying Sun, which is only enough to eat instant noodles. Episode 9, Walk the Streets of Konoha. The villagers cast disgusted looks at Naruto, beginning when Naruto was thrown out to live alone. The rumor that he was a demon fox spread quickly in Konoha village. This demon fox is the demon fox of the Night of the Nine Tails, instead of Konoha's war weapon, the Nine Tails Pillar Force. For this group of civilians, they didn't know that the so-called nine-tailed demon fox was made by the high level of Konoha village. So when Naruto supported Iroh, Chiyo's mother-in-law felt contempt for Naruto and the others who didn't even know the meaning of their own human pillar power. At this time it had only been 3 years since the Night of the Nine Tails. Many of their relatives died in the catastrophe of the Night of the Nine Tails. Suddenly, I heard that Naruto was the incarnation of the demon fox who was the culprit. This made the villagers' eyes full of disgust when they looked at Naruto. However, due to the order of the 3 generations of Hokage, they didn't dare to take the initiative to provoke Naruto, but the coldness and disgust revealed in his eyes is enough to make a 3-year-old child feel extremely painful. Fortunately, Naruto was a crosser. The eyes of this group of wastes that can only be slaughtered do not care. Ignorance exists in every world, it's just that the villagers of Konoha village are stupider. As long as they don't take the initiative to find fault, I am too lazy to see them in general. After all, people will not lose a piece of meat after a few glances. He was now thinking about where to go for a big meal. Now there are not too many places to not dislike him and let him consume to his heart's content. Basically, they are shops owned by some big families or some villagers who are as kind as Uncle Handa. Many of the remaining shops, restaurants, will turn themselves away. Naruto passed by a Maruko shop. This is also one of the few bosses who does not wear colored glasses on himself, and when he looked into the store, his pupil suddenly shrank. A figure in a green tights in the store was particularly eye-catching. Beside him sat a few familiar Konoha Nakasen. It is several combiotics of the same level as Kakashi. Hashiman Kai Huang and Kaiji, who almost raised the finale, were the same as Bukai Genma and Yamashiro Aoba, and beside them sat a petite beauty with black hair and red eyes, which made Naruto's eyes shine. It is the widow who will be regretted by everyone in the future. And ate a bunch of balls and sighed. It's been 3 years since the 3 generations were reinstated as Hokage. On the other side, unknown Fire Genma held a toothpick and bit and complained. I thought that the change of generations would give the times a new atmosphere. Kai on the side was also depressed, and his relationship with him had worsened since Kakashi rejoined the Dark Ministry. Kai couldn't help but complain. I understand what Genma means, but... The people on the side looked at this Taihanin who was about to make some inappropriate remarks, and hurriedly stopped him. Hey, 3 generations of adults are not easy, after all, they are all old. Yamashiro Aoba spread his hands and said, whatever you do so much, we just have to work for the village anyway. Sunset Hong raised the ball to interrupt the awkward atmosphere and said loudly, okay, let's toast with Dango to celebrate the 3rd year of the 3rd generation of Hokage. The rest of the people glanced at the lively Sunset Red, and they all raised their balls and applauded. And Naruto walked in just then. Can you add me one? Naruto blinked and looked at the balls in Sunset Red's hand with wide eyes. The 9 tails inside him shouted loudly in his body, can you not act so mentally retarded? Naruto rolled his eyes in his heart and drank. Shut up, Lao Tzu is now a 3-year-old cute baby, what's wrong with taking advantage of his body to soak up a girl? When the 9th Lama heard this, he immediately looked disdainful. He didn't think that the little color batch who talked to him about women at the age of 2 would be a cute baby. He wondered why Naruto was so precocious. Considering that the average life expectancy of ninjas during the Sengoku period was 40 years, the 9 tails reluctantly convinced himself that this was normal, but it's time to despise. He would still despise Naruto's oil-pumping behavior in the seal. Before living alone, Naruto didn't take advantage of his baby to take advantage of some. For example, after the Night of the 9 Tails, when a legendary woman with 3 ninja was watching her apprentice, she was severely ravaged by this guy pretending to be a baby looking for milk. Finally, he grabbed the necklace around the woman's neck before coming out of her arms. The 9 tails suspected that half of the woman's departure from Konoha was the credit of this little color batch. Now he sees that the girl starts to pretend to be a child and sell cute again. This made the 9 tails suddenly couldn't help but complain. And Matt K and the others watched in amazement as Naruto's face changed as he walked in from outside the door. Naturally, they had heard rumors about the demon fox. Several people looked at the Sunset Red in unison. You must know that her father died in the Night of the 9 Tails. A hint of sadness flashed on Sunset Red's face. Immediately, he looked at Naruto's pitiful little face, and sympathy suddenly flooded. Although sad, they all participated in the burial ceremony of the 4 generations and others. Naruto was placed in the C position next to the tombstone. These ninjas who have participated in the funeral know that the Naruto in front of them is actually Konoha's human pillar force, and he is also the widow of the 4th generation of Hokage. The disaster of the Night of the 9 Tails was not to blame Naruto's head at all. Even if it weren't for Naruto, the damage caused by the 9 Tails would have been even greater. So the group of people who know the truth know that Naruto is actually the hero who saved Konoha. And before the 4th generation died, he originally made Naruto's identity public with his own merits. As a result, he did not expect that the 3rd generation chose to hide the truth in order to control Naruto. That's why he was so surprised to hear Naruto say that his identity as the son of the 4th generation had been concealed when Pain attacked the village. At that time, because the 3 generations were dead, Naruto did not grow crooked. In the end, Wave Feng Shueimon could only comfort Naruto by fearing that his enemies would assassinate Naruto in the end. But that kind of inferior excuse, Naruto's kind of single-celled, would believe. So now Naruto's body is sealed with the culprit who caused his father's death. But the kind Sunset Hong still hated the poor orphan. She looked at Naruto and smiled and said, "Of course, let's toast together." Naruto heard this and ran unceremoniously to the side of Sunset Red. In the confused eyes of Matt K and others, with a grin, he took a half-eaten red ball and stuffed it into his mouth. "Thank you, beautiful sister." Episode 10. Looking at Hong's surprised eyes, Naruto looked up pitifully and said, "I don't have extra money to buy meatballs to eat, so I can only rub my sister's taste like this." Red saw Naruto's pitiful expression, and the girl's maternal love overflowed. The son of the 4th generation of the Hall can't even eat a dango, which is really excessive. But this is the meaning of the 3 generations of Hokage. It seems that in order to protect his safety and not let people know his identity, so everyone is not allowed to approach him. Red reached out and took Naruto directly into his arms and comforted. "It's okay, eat. After eating, my sister still has it here." Naruto felt a softness in his back, and suddenly felt a burst of happiness. These are happy days. Think of Konohamaru, the turtle grandson, who was forgiven by Naruto to take him to the bathhouse. That was the life he should have lived, but he was ruined by his cheap daddy and the old immortal of the 3rd generation. Since he has crossed over, he must take back the happy life that originally belonged to him. With this deceitful appearance, Naruto was comfortably lying in Red's arms eating balls under the jealous eyes of a certain 3rd generation son. I didn't expect that my whim would also have an unexpected harvest. And while Naruto was enjoying the rare body sofa, outside, a silvery figure dressed as a young man with a mask suddenly caught Matkai's attention. He is none other than his father's own disciple, Kiki Kakashi. At this time, Kakashi did not have the slightest expression on his face, and he exuded a sense of alienation from the dark parts. Metke naturally greeted him loudly as a base friend. "Hey! Kakashi, come and eat dango," even knowing that Kakashi wouldn't take care of himself. However, this Matkai, who even Danzo said that darkness cannot be eroded, would still happily invite Kakashi to dinner. And Kakashi was really ready to ignore this group of ignorant little brats who didn't know the darkness hidden for Konoha, as usual. As a result, his eyes skimmed Naruto in his red arms, and he suddenly frowned. 9 Tails? How could this guy get mixed up with them? At this time, Kakashi no longer regarded Naruto as the son of his teacher. For Naruto, the identity of the human pillar force is more important than the identity of the son of the 4th generation. From the time he was ordered by Sarutobi to spy on Naruto, then the eccentric Sasuke could tell, he didn't have any preferential treatment in the slightest because Naruto was the son of his teacher. Instead, he took care of the 2 pillars of his own kind. Not only gave Sasuke the Chidori that he created by imitating Orochimaru, he even opened a small stove for Sasuke alone during the Chunin exam. On the other hand, Naruto sighed casually threw him to that scrap material Ebisu. This guy couldn't even see the 5-element seal when Naruto couldn't concentrate Chakra's key problem. If it weren't for Jiraiya returning to the village to help Naruto lift the 5-element seal set by Orochimaru, Naruto didn't say that he defeated Ninji, and it took even the most basic water to tread. This kind of selfish and irresponsible teacher crossed over Naruto is not welcome at all. He was not in the mood to use his love to turn this big fool into darkness and positivity. And at this time, Kakashi saw Naruto frown and walk in front of them. "Why are you with him? Have you forgotten the orders of the 3 generations of Hokage?" These ninjas were ordered to forbid random contact with human pillars. Kakashi glanced at Asuma, who looked jealous. If it weren't for this guy's presence, the dark part hidden in the shadows would have popped out to stop them from meeting Naruto. Matkai smiled and patted Kakashi's shoulder without caring at all. "What are you afraid of? But together we are celebrating the 3rd anniversary of the return of Lord Hikage to the position of Hokage." Kakashi snorted coldly. He was naturally exposed to more darkness that Kai and these people did not know. Naruto's importance was simply not what this group of Naka shinobi could imagine. Out of concern for his peers, Kakashi glanced at Naruto and whispered, "In short, less contact with this child." Matt Kai's brow furrowed. He was more and more worried about Kakashi. "Kakashi, you can't be because of the demon fox too, right? You know, he's 4. Shut up." Kakashi let out a low sigh. "This matter is forbidden to be discussed," Matt K pouted. A newly promoted physical genius because of the Hashiman Dunja founded by his father, he did not understand the political struggles of the high level of Konoha. He just felt that Kakashi had treated his teacher's son too much. However, looking at Kakashi's indifferent expression, Matt Kai did not dare to say anything more. And at this time, Naruto and the Red Arms pouted disdainfully, pretending to be curious and rubbing salt on Kakashi's wound. "It's amazing, why is one of the eyes of this paralyzed man red?" When Kakashi heard this, a look of pain flashed in his eyes. He turned his head with murderous intent and stared at Naruto. Naruto, on the other hand, was immediately scared and buried his head in Red's chest and shouted, "Oh, this paralyzed expression is so scary, sister save me." Red looked at the frightened Naruto, and suddenly maternal love flooded, put her arms around Naruto, and scolded Kakashi. "Kakashi, he's still a kid." Kakashi also seemed to know that he had gaffed, so he hurriedly collected his killing intent and planned to turn away. As a result, in the next second, he saw Naruto on the red chest raising an eyebrow at his provocative defiance. Got rid of the underbeating look of Momonosuke next door. Kakashi instantly felt the urge to destroy him. 2TMO'd. Is this special Meow the son of his warm male teacher? Why haven't you seen 3 generations of Hokage in a few years?